Hello, beloved listeners, and welcome to Snake People at the Movies, film criticism by people who actually like film. Join us as we dive into movies we love, movies we respect, and movies we wish we could unsee. It's a podcast where we talk about growing up and living, queer, nerdy, and depressed, online and at the cinema. From the kids who just can't believe the shit you could put in PG-13 movies these days, it's Sneople at the Movies. I'm Matty.
I'm Helena.
And I'm Ezra.
If you couldn't tell from the Sting joke there, we're doing a episode just on violent movies. Just on violent fucking movies, man.
Look, we all watched John Wick, and now that's just like on the brain.
Yes. I've seen all three of them already. Z, you had seen the first one, but haven't seen the other two.
I had watched the first one with roommate Kevin, and it was sort of like, I think it didn't have any subtitles, like, which was rough for my completely unable to pay attention to films that have no subtitles ass. But fortunately for me, John Wick is also not really that hard a film to follow.
No, the first one especially.
It's just like, yeah, man loses dog, man goes apeshit on entire population of New York City. The end.
As well, he should.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, and then we just watched 2 last night with the gang.
Which was, in my opinion, actually, I enjoyed it even more than I enjoyed the first one.
Yeah, for sure.
There was kind of more
really
substance to it.
Yeah, 2 is where the world building really starts to, like, kind of snap into place, and you're like, oh shit, there's a lot going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're like, there's all this weird Baroque bullshit, like, World of Assassins thing that they just don't, they, like, reference, they don't explain it, because they don't care if you don't know what's going on.
Which is so... yeah, this is where the John Wick lore really starts to come into play.
Yeah, Maddie kept just putting the lore in all caps.
It's great.
It was very cute.
It's great, because I love that. I love movies that, like, especially action movies that, like, don't need to do that, but do it anyway just to make it more interesting. Yeah, because it fleshes everything out so much more and sets it apart in such a distinct way.
I'm so excited for you guys to see 3.
I'm
3 is so fucking good. Okay, but yeah, so that's what we're talking about today. I just want to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
And I think that goes into what we've seen pretty nicely, so... Who wants to go? I can go, I guess.
I mean, now I'm just thinking about the end of the Sting for some reason.
About what?
My brain went movie violence, the mechanics of movie violence. God, hey, the end of the Sting is really cool. God, I want to watch the Sting. Sorry.
Yeah, God, I want to watch the Sting.
I love that movie.
Remember our heist movies episode? That was a good one.
Yeah.
I just want to watch.
Hey, go check out the heist movies episode after you're done listening to this.
I'm a really big fan of the podcast People at the Movies. It's recorded by these 3 people. They talk about movies. It's so good.
Yeah, have you heard of them? They're all gay. Yeah, so rewatched John Wick 1 and 2. We had a different stream where we watched The Man from U.N.C.L.E. again for a couple of us, and a bunch of people hadn't seen it before. I don't remember if this was like 3 weeks ago or if it was shorter. I don't know, but we didn't mention it last episode, so a couple of us were there for that. The stream wasn't working for me, so I just actually listened to it again, and I was like, I know this movie pretty good.
I like doing that.
It was honestly, yeah, I wish I could have gotten to see it again, because that movie is so, like, visual in so many great ways. So I want to actually watch it again. But so I listened to The Man from U.N.C.L.E., not on purpose. Watched Jurassic Park again with a couple of friends, just because, like, that movie's good. We watched Prince of Egypt, because Passover just happened, and that's what the gang does every year, is we have a Seder and we watch Prince of Egypt, but we couldn't have a Seder, because...
Life.
If you've heard, there's a pandemic on, so we didn't do that, but we did watch Prince of Egypt. I did cry, like, 5 times, which I do every year.
Mm-hmm. I was, like, shaking during the opening number this year.
God. Yeah, it's so good. I can't even offer anything else. Hell no, I also love listening to movies. I think it was the fact that I did not get to choose to listen to the movie.
Sure.
I was forced to listen to the movie, and that, like, was a bummer.
Yeah.
The first time I ever saw Silence of the Lambs, I just listened to it because I was too freaked out.
Fair.
At the sleepover I was at, so I just it hid on the other side. I hid on the other side of the bed that everybody was hanging out on, and stole a book from my friend and fucking listened to Silence of the Lambs.
I think I did something similar the first time I watched Jurassic Park, actually.
Fair.
But I was pretty wee.
Honestly, I feel like both of those movies might actually be scarier if you're only listening to them.
If you're only listening to them, yes, absolutely. Yeah, oh my god.
Because then I actually went and watched Silence of the Lambs, and I was like, this is not as bad as I thought it was going to be, because it was freakier in my head.
Because it's scary to and then lastly, I finally fucking saw Parasite.
Yes.
Parasite, the reason movies were fucking invented. I'm sure I mentioned them before. Two, my dearest internet friends. You two are my best friends, and then these are my other two best friends. I have 4 best friends.
That's great.
Gee, Maddie, how come your mom let you have 4 best friends? But Stan has been like, can we please watch fucking Parasite? And it finally came out on Hulu, so we could finally watch it. And then we spent the next 3 hours just texting like, holy shit. And realizing more shit about the movie as we talked about it, and being like, wow, I don't see this about much. That was, I think, a perfect movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was I won't say too much about it just because I didn't know very much about it going in. I knew a little, just kind of cultural osmosis, but so much it was just brand new, and I was like, oh fuck, oh, it was so good. So yeah, that's what I saw. Shit, Parasite was so good.
Sorry, it is such a good movie.
Think about it now.
Should I go next?
Yeah, go for it.
I was gonna say I wrote that down so I could remember to talk about it after you mentioned it.
Sorry.
It's okay. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I will pick that up though. I also love listening to movies, just in general. But I think I remember, was it last year or the year before, when I was on a flight to Toronto? It was just after The Favourite had come out, so I had already seen that once or twice, so I watched it again, but I was like, I know that I'm not going to be able to stare at this tiny screen in the back of my, this seat in front of me for, however long it takes to fly to Toronto, so I'm just going to put it on, and then I'll nap with my earbuds in and listen to The Favourite, and it's so relaxing. Mm-hmm. Even for a weird movie like The Favourite. Let me see, what did I watch?
So cute.
I watched Minority Report for the first time because it was on Netflix, and I was like, Colin Farrell's in this, so that's good.
I need to see it.
It's pretty fun. I enjoyed it. I mentioned this on Twitter. My dad, before we started watching it, was like, so the 2 twins that are in this that play 2 of the 3 precogs, the precognitive people that create these sort of images of murder. That's a terrible sentence. If you've seen Minority Report, you know what I'm talking about.
Ben kind of explained the idea of it to me, so
I've watched
I understand.
The first 20 minutes of Minority Report, and then for some reason never actually seen the rest of it.
Fuck this.
I assumed that you didn't finish it because of ice cream stuff.
No, it was on. I was not watching it on purpose. It's one of those things where I was it was just on, and then it got turned off. And so I never went and sought it out again. Thank you for the ice cream warning, because I didn't get far enough, I guess.
Oh, yes.
Or I don't remember it. It's one of those things where it also may have been on in the background, but I may just have to write that one off as a no.
Yeah, I would look it up and see where it comes in if you can, because it's pretty. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. But yeah, so the 2 twin brothers in that were in a production of the play Fortinbras. With my parents back in the 80s.
14
Bras? Oh, that's wild.
14 Bras. 14 Bras. By Lee Blessing. And they helped them move from our house on Hawthorne to our house on 16th, where we lived when I was very young. So we were like, oh, cool, they're in this movie. We have good things associated with this film. That's a takeaway from it. Colin Farrell was very attractive in it, and very good. The late Max von Sydow was in it as well, and he was very excellent. I guess Tom Cruise is also in that movie as the leader, whatever.
Yeah, he's on the box or whatever.
He's on the box or whatever. I rewatched The Dark Knight, which was still really good. Sorry.
Don't apologize. You're right.
It's very good. I watched Star Trek Insurrection for the first time, which is not one of the good Star Trek movies. For a while...
What happens in Insurrection? Which one is that?
Oh boy. That's the one where there's this society of people on this planet that like haven't aged for hundreds of years because of some regenerative like essence of the planet themselves, and there's another species that is allying themselves with Starfleet that wants to like move them out and relocate them and make the healing powers available to everybody, but in doing so forcibly relocate the people who are there. And Picard is like, I've decided I don't like that, and I'm going to be myself about it.
Yeah.
And he also, Donna, what's her name? From who was like the lead in Passion, Sondheim's Passion, and she's in Spider-Man too. Donna. She's the voice of Mother Gothel in Tangled. What's her name?
Oh my god, wow, my brain is just like, what is her fucking name?
IMDb, tell me. While I'm looking that up, she plays the like Picard's this like romantic interest that he gets. And I'm like, yeah, man, get it. Ooh. That's great for you.
Let
Donna Murphy.
Jean-Luc Picard, Donna Murphy, duh.
Yeah.
Let Jean-Luc Picard be bisexual 2021 or whatever the fuck the Picard show comes back.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't need to fucking detour into that.
Well, there were some great, that's again, I was like really hoping it to be one of the good ones because there's some great, like, Data stuff at the beginning. There's a moment where like Data has been his system's been like taken over, and Picard's like, I know how to get him to come back, and him and Worf are in this like transport trying to get him back to himself, and he was rehearsing a production of this like I think it's Pirates of Penzance. It's some Gilbert and Sullivan thing, and so he starts singing a Gilbert and Sullivan song, and then so it's just Patrick Stewart and Brent Spiner singing Gilbert and Sullivan, and it's like, okay, this movie should be good because of this reason. Just let the movie end here, and it'll be fine. But it was also,
and then unfortunately it kept going.
And it was very silly. Like there was some good stuff in there, but it kind of felt like an overlong episode, which is not always a good thing. Rewatched Prince of Egypt. Watched Near Dark, which was fine. It's very dated, I think, which is part of the reason why it's probably not going to be a favorite of mine ever, but it was also really interesting and I appreciate it. That's the Yeehaw vampire movie that I was telling you about.
Yeah. Is that the one that has George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino in it?
That's
From Dusk
Till Dawn.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
okay.
This is better than From Dusk Till Dawn. Near Dark is a Catherine Bigelow movie about this guy who he meets this girl who ends up being a vampire, and he has to join in with this roaming group of vampires, including Bill Paxton. As they try to force him to become one of them and kill people. So it's really violent and very yeehaw. And meanwhile, his dad and his sister are trying to get him back because he's been kidnapped by these randos. So it's very interesting. It's very stylish, and I wanted to like it more than I did. And it's not very bad. It's very fun and an interesting.
It has 7 stars on IMDb, which is more than I would have expected.
How many?
7.
Oh yeah, no, that sounds about right. That's pretty good.
Okay.
It's a well-made movie. It's just kind of not my thing, and the music is a lot. The music is very 80s, and it's okay.
Love
the
it.
world building is fun. Bill Paxton is really great. I wanted Bill Paxton to be his full self more than he was already being in that, and I wanted him to be what I'm saying is that he was trying really hard to make his character homoerotic, and I was really appreciating that, and I wanted it to go even further than it did, but I understand that this is not what the movie was about, so that's fine. So that was good. That was on the Criterion channel, which I now have a subscription to because the Hollywood Theater reached out to the Criterion channel about our members don't have any movie theaters to go to right now. So they offered all Hollywood Theater members
that's right.
3 months off, half off after the 2-week trial. So I'm like,
that's such a dope.
What the heck? Yeah. It was really awesome. So I'm very excited. It has like, you know, a huge catalog of amazing movies. So I'm very excited to dive into that. I also watched John Wick Chapter 2, and before that I watched The Death of Stalin with my parents, which some people are apparently very mad that I watched without them, and I'm sorry.
I've never seen it.
Maddie, it's okay. Just hit me up. The two of us are gonna watch it.
It's good.
Yeah, fuck you.
Because I love that fucking movie so much.
You can tell me when you watch it, and I'll watch it again with you if you feel so inclined. But I understand.
Oh yeah, we gotta ask Leia, because that was actually we've decided us going to see. We went to go see Death of Stalin together at the Fox Tower in Portland for like the really late show, and we've pinpointed that as our first date.
Aww.
Oh, that's
Love
cute.
You, babe.
It's what an interesting film to choose as your...
Honestly, it's I remember saying, like, sort of, we're looking back and we're like, well, yeah, no, that's a pretty weird first date choice. We're like, except it's very us.
It's very you.
Yeah, the humor in that is very dark.
We both had an extremely strong reaction to one specific thing that Jason Isaacs does, which Maddie will probably immediately understand.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, no, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
When it happened, when that moment happened, I went, yes!
Yeah!
In front of my parents.
Deservedly
which
so.
Was, yeah. It was a lot. No, it was very good. It's a great cast. Steve Buscemi it was great to see Steve Buscemi being Steve Buscemi in this movie. And Simon Russell Beale was just, a terrible, terrible, terrible human being. But like fantastic.
Yeah. He plays God, the man does the banality of evil so beautifully.
Exactly. Yes. They all do that very well, but he especially is just like a terrible human being. And Michael Palin, it was nice to see Michael Palin. Who I called the hot python on Twitter the other day. Sorry, not sorry.
No, I feel like that's a fairly reasonable. Yeah, I would come down on basic agreement with that.
Thank you for validating me. God, I swear to God, I can talk about other things besides like being attracted to Michael Palin. So let me
look. We are all stuck at home in quarantine. Everyone is bored and horny. Okay, like the zeitgeist is just bored and horny.
This is true.
Or stressed and horny.
Yeah. Or stressed and horny.
So that's what I've seen. I'll get off the mic.
So Ezra, what have you seen?
Oh fuck yeah. Oh fuck the podcast. So watched Prince of Egypt. Had very strong feelings about how much I love being a Jew while watching the Prince of Egypt, as I do every year. And just very strong feelings about how like the respect and like compassion with which that film treats stuff that's really important to a lot of people.
Yeah. I was thinking about at the beginning of that movie, they're like, we consulted with a team of various like religious figures from various religions because we understand that this story is so important to so many people.
Yeah.
And I am not Jewish and therefore can't say a whole lot, but as far as I can tell, they did pretty good.
At this point, Maddie, I feel fairly confident saying that you count as Jewish adjacent.
You know what? I'll take it.
So yeah, I had a lot of feelings about that. Enjoyed the fuck out of John Wick Chapter 2, because I gotta admit, like, the first one I liked, but it didn't, like, I wasn't riveted. Mostly because, I don't know, I guess just, like, revenge film as a genre is something that sort of, it's like I need it to be more ridiculous than that, even. Like, I want Jacobean revenge tragedy and people, accidentally poisoning the wrong person until there's,
it wasn't ludicrous enough is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's like it almost wasn't ludicrous enough, and then the second one, like, really stepped it up into the kind of just, like, over the top, there's an amount of sort of fanciful melodrama to the second one that really like kicked it into high gear for me. So I enjoyed the fuck out of that.
I'll tell you what it was for me. Like I haven't seen the first one yet, but like for most of the movie I was like, this is a pretty good movie and I like it. And then there was a moment when I was like, oh no, actually this is extremely good. And it was during, I think the final I think it's the final fight scene in the that art exhibit that's like reflections of the self or something like that. And I was like, oh no, actually this is extremely, extremely good. I love this.
Yeah, there's a lot of, which I think for a lot of folks who all you know about John Wick is kind of the chatter about it. John Wick actually has a lot of subtlety going on. Yeah. Those movies have a lot going on, even if the overlayer is pretty straightforward. Even John Wick 1. Andrew and I have talked so much about the lighting and the color use in John Wick 1, because it is out of this world once you notice it, the stuff that they are indicating to you using just color.
Yeah, I think that film is sort of a lot smarter than I was in a place to dial into the first time I saw it, which is... It
is...
happens.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a movie series that really rewards a rewatch. Especially once you've watched the other ones and you can go back and see, like, this is why he's acting like this. Like, the movie tells you pretty honestly, this is why he's acting like this, but when you watch, especially 3, and you go back and you're like, oh, this is why he's acting like this. Okay, we'll talk about John Wick later.
we have Matty.
We haven't even finished what we said.
Amigo mio, we have a whole ass section on this Google Doc that just says, "Here you can talk about John Wick." It's great.
I know.
We can talk about John Wick. And then my joke here is that I haven't watched anything. I've been sleeping and complaining about not being able to eat bread because of Passover. But I did watch, and shout out to my friend Logan who does not listen to this show yet, for finding this for me, because I was thinking at work about how I wanted to watch just the Battle of Helm's Deep without any of the other scenes that are intercut with it.
Oh.
And so he fucking sent me a like video compilation, and it's somebody, like, it's individual videos, but it's a playlist that's effectively a stitch together of just the Battle of Helm's Deep. And so I watched just the Battle of Helm's Deep because I don't know, I was having thoughts about, like, for some reason my brain was like, it went from like Prince of Egypt to that, and I was just thinking about like human, like, stories about like human bravery in the face of desperation, and one of those, like, if you meet a challenge with a small group of people who all trust each other, you can stand against impossible tides. Yeah, and then that kind of segued nicely into what we ended up being the topic for this episode, in that I have thoughts about the difference between fights and battles on screen, and that you can have, like, how you can have a fuck ton of people get killed, but it's like not particularly violent. But it can still make an impact, or you can have, like, I don't know. But then, like, and then my brain went down the rabbit hole of fucking, like, Marvel movie battles and how they're just bad. Anyway, that's the end of that thought. They're bad. Yeah, so I don't know if we want to just... I'm just going to segue right into this fucking episode because it's our podcast and I can do whatever I want. And just say that, yeah, like, we wanted to talk about sort of about violence, but specifically about, like, violent movies where a chunk of what happens is people hurting each other. Yeah, and kind of the ways that gets used and the ways that we interact with that, and the impact it makes or doesn't make. Yeah, so I'll let somebody else take the floor because I feel like I had a thought there and then it got stolen by the train.
Then it left you.
Yeah, it boarded the fucking Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad going wherever the fuck
going anywhere.
I'm just waving it, but the midnight train going anywhere. It's 9:15.
Yeah, so I guess we were already talking about John Wick. Let's just might as well.
Yeah, let's just hop in and talk about John Wick. I got this whole section where I'm like, yeah, John Wick. What I was thinking about is, I think I mentioned this when we were watching it last night, but I was scrolling around trying to find, I thought that there was an ice cream thing in John Wick 2, and I was desperately trying to make sure I was remembering it correctly so I could warn for it. Turns out there isn't one. There's a one in the third one. Fake out. Oh, good to know. Yes, thank you.
Which Ben and I did not know going into the movie when we saw it in theaters, and he and I saw it coming. Me, always on the lookout for that stuff from my friends, and Ben, who has an ice cream issue, and he and I both were like, no! Fucking... Hold on, my son is calling for me.
Oh, boy. So this is a nice thing about having your friends pre-screen violent films for you, is that they know the specific things that you can and cannot deal with, and will fucking look out for you so that you don't, freak the fuck out in the middle of the film, in a theater, like I did when we went to go see Kingsman 2, and everybody forgot that I have an ice cream problem, and that, the whole plot of that movie is people's eyeballs blowing up. Yeah. So that was fun.
Okay, in my defense, I forgot that the ice cream thing was happening, not that you had one.
Oh, no, yeah, no, I know that you forgot that the ice cream thing was happening. Everybody else forgot that I had one.
Fair. Yes, because we got to that point, and I had this moment where I was like, oh shit, no! As I abruptly remembered what was about to happen.
Yeah, it was, I felt very looked out for you. It just was, slightly too late. Oh, yikers.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, that's just thinking about, things where I'm zooming right over into that, where it's, if there's, certain kinds of, especially violence, or just, any kind of content, but we're really talking about violence, that will, that you, it fucks you up so much that it, takes you out of the film. I would always rather be warned by that kind of thing, because then I can, separate my feelings about whatever it is. It's usually eye stuff. I can separate my, visceral freak out over the eye thing from my enjoyment of the rest of the film, whereas if I don't know about it and I get, taken aback by it, it will ruin the whole movie for me, because it becomes the only thing I can think about when I think about that movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would say it's the difference between something which scares you, like my thing with bodies moving in ways they should not, which is more of a thing that I'm extra scared of in horror movies, but not so much, I would say, a trigger warning, as opposed to the animal stuff.
This is a thing
particular
that's
dog,
yeah.
Where it's
this is
it makes me sick.
Something that will take me out of the moment.
Yeah. It's I can't think about that without thinking of real world things which have nothing to do with this movie, and that's not what I want to be doing necessarily when I want to be thinking about real world things after I finish the film, and wow, this movie is so resonant for this reason and that reason. I don't want to be thinking about something terrible happening to a beagle puppy or whatever.
Yeah.
Talk about my particular thing, but whatever anybody's thing is, right?
Yeah. For me, I don't have very much. Most things are things that you for me, I can handle a lot of stuff that would be normally trigger warnings for me, but in movies they're not a big deal. If it's something that is a trigger warning for me, that just means I'm not watching the movie. Mm-hmm. That's I'm not going to see that at all. There's some stuff that I can't handle to the point I'm this is not worth viewing for me. That was the end of that sentence. I feel like I had another thought kind of tacked on to that. So for violent movies, for me, I grew up with a lot of violent movies and video games. I have a pretty high threshold for just kind of and I don't want to say meandering, that's kind of a weird way to phrase it, senseless quote-unquote violence. Stuff like John Wick, where there's a lot of violence happening all the time. Stuff like that just doesn't really bother me.
Ambient violence, gore, kind of.
Yeah, the blood and gore don't really bug me that much. Depending on how it's done. There's some stuff, even stuff that it's over the top. Usually I'm that doesn't bother me. I just think it's really gross. And like sometimes it'll make me like, there's a lot of horror movies that have a lot of blood and gore and like gross stuff just for the sake of that, and I'm like, that's not, it's just kind of gross to me, and I think it's boring. But my mom is very, very sensitive to that kind of stuff. So I've been unconsciously trigger warning her for violent movies basically since day one. And therefore, that's something I think about a lot with violent movies. We were talking about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang earlier, and whether or not that's something that you should warn for when you're like, oh, you should watch Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. And it's something I always do, because of my mom, where I'm like, I don't know if my mom would enjoy this movie, because for her, it would be uncomfortably violent, even if that is not the point of the film. Or stuff like Ice Cream for Z. That's just something I always think about, because it's important for me that my friends enjoy movies. That was the end of the thought, I think that talk about trigger warnings and violent movies, I think should be important and go hand in hand, because a lot of people, it does bother them a lot for, I think, legitimate reasons.
Yeah.
I think being desensitized to violence is not necessarily a good thing or something you should be proud of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just something that happened to me in movies, in media, I will say. When it happens in real life, obviously, it still bothers me quite a significant amount. I just have been able to kind of pull myself separately from it when I know it's not real.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing that, I feel like, basically my whole life, too, in a different way and to a different degree, I think. But, like, in thinking about, like, all of the dark movies or scary movies that I used to watch when I was a kid, or scarier movies, where I was like, this doesn't bother me, because I know it's not real, and I could figure, and I realized that from a very young age that I could separate those two things. To the point where, like, I don't know what to recommend to my cousin's daughter now, because we were actually watching Prince of Egypt, and my dad asked me, like, has she seen Prince of Egypt? And I was like, I do not know. It's like, is she old enough to see that? And she's like 7. And I was like, I mean,
maybe?
Yeah, maybe, but also,
I don't know.
Also, like, she started to watch The Lion King, and then Mufasa died, and she looked at my cousin-in-law like she just betrayed her more profoundly than anyone has ever been betrayed, and they never finished it and never watched it again. And Lion King, of course, as we all know, was on repeat on the television for a solid 3 years when I was an infant. And also, I've been watching, like, Star Trek First Contact since I was, like, 2 years old. So, it's this kind of, like, people are able to handle different things and everything, which is why I went so extensively also into the Jaws stuff in anticipation of that, because I feel like especially when you're sharing something with people that you really love, it's important to make that experience. You want people to have, like you were saying, as enjoyable an experience as possible, and part of making that experience enjoyable is to make sure that people know when, like, shit that's gonna make them upset is coming, so that they can enjoy the stuff that's not that, which is gonna be most of the movie in the case of Jaws. But yeah, it's just important to make sure everyone's having a good time.
Think about, I guess my parents were, like, fairly successful in moderating my access to violent media content as a kid.
My mom was very good at it. My dad, I think, less so. My dad is also very specific about the kind of violence he can or cannot handle.
That makes sense.
Like sci-fi violence, fantasy violence, no problem. Don't worry about it. This man, we all know and love my dad, who listens to the podcast. Hi, Dad, I love you.
Hey, Manny's dad, we love you.
My dad has a very good heart and a very empathetic heart, and therefore cannot watch stuff like Hotel Rwanda or a lot of war movies. Those are things that are to human suffering, like real life human suffering, even in movies, is way too hard for him.
Yeah.
And my mom too. I never watched anything like that, but I watched, boy, did I see a lot of sci-fi and fantasy violence, I think, and it never bothered me.
Yeah, same.
Horror, no go. Hated horror for most of my life. But yeah, I think there's also, I guess we didn't mention this on the doc, but well, kind of. There's different, like, levels of violence also, which, like, make a lot of a difference depending on the person. Like, Helena, you cannot do violence against animals at all.
Yeah.
I'm sensitive to that as well, less than you, I think. Violence against kids is a big one for me. Very hard for me to do that.
If it's like happening, like there's a spoilers for Jaws. There's a dog that dies in the movie Jaws, but you don't ever see it happening. So like stuff like that, it upsets me, but it doesn't like upset me. I'm like, oh no, the dog's gone. You know, if it's like directly violence against animals, or it's like anything, I just can't watch fucking Marley and Me bullshit. That kind of like where you like the whole point of the movie is that the dog has to die.
Yeah. Dude, like my 4th grade teacher made me read Where the Red Fern Grows.
Oh, forget about it.
Like like that. Fuck
Old Yeller?
you.
No, I can't do that shit. I can't.
Fuck off.
It's basically. I mean, I hate to make the analogy, you know, with humans versus animals, but it's basically like fridging the dogs so that the humans can have character development. It's just a weird plot.
As we talked about in the chat, though, I was like, it makes sense because at least humans in general have agency or can like defend themselves. Animals can't. As a rule, they cannot. They don't
understand what's going on.
They don't have anything they can do. Yeah, very upsetting.
Yeah.
Completely understand. Or like sci-fi violence versus like real life violence, or like sexual violence, stuff like
violence
that.
has a sexual component is like a pretty hard. Like
cannot do that one.
Yeah,
that's one of the ones where it's like I won't watch the movie.
Yeah.
If it features too much of that, I just won't, flat out can't. And it's also a matter of like the way the violence is framed or way that it's done. I said in John Wick, this is kind of a niche reference, but it's a good one, so I will explain it. That a lot of the violence in John Wick is not super flashy. It's all, for the most part, pretty efficient. John Wick is a Dynasty Warriors game, and Dynasty Warriors is your one character, and there's literally like hundreds of thousands of enemies coming at you, and you just mow through them. And that's it. That's the whole game, is you just fucking destroy enemies left and right for like half an hour at a time. And that's what John Wick does, is he just kind of like walks into a room and kills a bajillion people with a gun and then leaves the room, and it takes like 2 minutes in movie time.
Yeah, and you don't ever really like watch the aftermath of him shooting hardly anybody.
No.
They just fall over. You don't see a lot of you might see like a blood splatter, but it does not linger on people dying. They die like video game enemies with like, but not the persistent gore thing from Dragon Age.
No.
No. Which, don't get me wrong, I love the fuck out of Dragon Age, and I think that the persistent gore setting is funny as hell, because I like the implication that your characters apparently just do not wash anything. I'm like, you smell like old blood! And they're like, I don't care, I'm too metal for that.
Historically accurate. That's what Dragon Age is. Historically accurate.
Especially the dragons.
Yeah. A lot of the extended fight scenes in John Wick are hand-to-hand combat, actually.
Yeah.
Like, there are longer fight sequences, but most of them are like, oh shit, we're out of bullets, time to punch each other now. Which are not, necessarily super bloody. There's just kind of a lot of sick flips and shit, which is cool. Like, a lot of the longer fight scenes are just, like, cool to look at because they're not super violent, and they're, like, flipping each other, and, like, or the setup is interesting. Like, all the stuff with, Cassian, that's his name, right? The character is played by the rapper Common, and so when we watch the movie, we always call it, oh, Common's here. But I think the character's name is Cassian. There's a lot of fight sequences between the two of them in John Wick 2. That go on for longer periods, and some of them, like, they have guns and they're shooting at each other, but at one point, they're, like, in a subway, John's on the lower level, and Cassian's on the upper level, and they're, like, shooting at each other from under their guns, and it's the fucking
so fucking
thing.
Good.
It's so good. So I think that John Wick, yes, is very violent, and there were a lot of reviews that were like, I can't handle this, like, this is what's wrong with action movies these days, so they're just so incredibly violent. And I'm like, that is fair, and I respect if this was a level of violence that you were not comfortable with. I think that is reasonable. But also I think that you're missing something here, both in the point of the violence and also the way the violence is executed is actually not quite as heavy-handed as a lot of action movies, if we're being frank, you know?
Yeah. I agree.
I think it's too simplistic. It's too simplistic of a way to view John Wick.
Yeah.
Which are good.
Yeah. I don't know.
I could literally just go into the whole,
cause,
this is the point of the violence, but I'm not going to.
Like, if just thinking about, if you compare John Wick to Dread, which is a lot of, you know, one person or two people against large number of armed people in a building. It has some of the same sort of terrain, if that makes sense. Like, the individual acts of violence produce a lot more, like, blood and suffering in Dread than they do in John Wick.
Yes. In Dread, it is a struggle. They're fighting, like, every step of the way to get one step further.
Yeah.
You get a feeling of, like, the enormity of their task.
And they're not fighting, like, most of the people in John Wick, it's the equivalent of throwing 25, you know, CR1 quarter zombies at, like, a level 8 fighter. Like, there's a ton of them, but almost all of them he can take down with one blow.
Yeah.
I feel like the difference
is just
to
a
me...
different kind of violence to me, where it's like, that's kind of like the difference between, like, sorry, Helena, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go for it.
It's the difference between, like, almost a lot of parts of John Wick actually fall into more of a battle scene category for me than a fight. Where in my head, a fight scene is between two people, or it's between like each individual feels like an actual adversary, whereas the stuff in a lot of, like, battle scenes or some of the kind of bigger fight scenes in John Wick is almost more PvE. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say, it's Dynasty Warriors versus, like, fucking, I don't know, Final Fantasy or something.
Yeah.
Once again, not to make video game references. That,
I mean,
somebody will.
I was just, you know,
so.
or it's the difference between, like, I don't know, it's the difference between fighting 20 CR 1/4 zombies and, like, fighting, like, you know, like 3, like, pit fiends or something. I don't know. Fucking, my whole brain is D&D.
It's like the...
But the each, if it's like, if whether they feel like a threat individually or whether it feels like a threat because there are so many of them.
There's a difference between... Sorry, I keep cutting you off. No, you're fine. I feel like, to me, the difference is between, you know, when I watch a lot of superhero movies with my parents, because there's so many of them these days, of course.
Jesus Christ.
They complain a lot about, and I agree with them to a point, about a lot of the sort of senseless destruction that goes on. I'm thinking of, like, particularly a movie that I do not like, which was the Man of Steel, the recent Snyder Superman movie.
Don't they just, like, fucking, like,
they basically
destroy most of New York for no particular reason?
Yeah, they just kind of destroy the whole ass city, you know, like that. And it's this sort of, what I really appreciate, what I think is different about John Wick, is because the character is so distinctive, and because the lore of the movie is so distinctive, because he's an assassin who wants out, he's like, I don't want to be doing this, but y'all are gonna make me, I guess. They're very careful, and all the other characters are very careful, for the most part, in that movie at least, about not hurting civilians, which we made a note of last night. Like, there's one shootout that happens in, like, an outdoor concert, which he could very easily, like, cause, like, collateral damage, and he's very careful to not cause any needless destruction towards anyone or anything, which I think is very, like, the whole subway thing is so brilliant, because they get onto the train, and it was just crowded with people, like a New York subway usually is, and they're just kind of inching together slowly until they can get close enough to start, like, hand-to-hand combat, and slowly, like, people get off the train as they start fighting, because they're like, oh shit, there's a rumble happening. But they're very careful not to cause any more extra destruction, because they're assassins. They're trying to kill a specific person. They're not trying to cause extra destruction, and I think it's very interesting that a movie about assassins is more careful with the way it uses violence and who it uses it against than, like, a Superman movie, but that's none of my business. Kermit sipping tea.jpg.
I'm also thinking about fucking Avengers 2.
Age of Ultron?
The Avengers movie, which shall not be named. Mm-hmm. Yeah, where they destroy a whole ass country.
Oh, gee.
Remember that movie where they destroyed a whole ass country?
Haven't seen it. Never will.
Do they?
God, it's fucking garbage.
Sokovia.
Do they or do they not? Did I fucking hallucinate them, like, levitating a fucking city, like, on a giant tensor's floating disc? Why is that movie so
you didn't
dumb?
Hallucinate that. That does happen. I don't remember why, but it does happen.
You know what else sucks about... Sorry, I'm just going to detour into why...
the Avengers?
Because, like, some of the individual fight scenes are choreographed quite well.
Yeah. Winter Soldier's
a smaller percentage of those are filmed in a way that you can tell that they're choreographed well. Thank you, Captain America the Winter Soldier, for using someone who actually understands how to operate a camera. But there's this sort of, like, why are fight scenes so, like, I don't always need everybody to, like, linger on how much it hurts to get, like, punched in the kidneys. That's not what I'm talking about. I would, however, like to be able to see the choreography that these actors have learned for this scene, as opposed to, you know, this 45-second fight scene has 57 jump cuts in it.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I think...
I'm like, what are you doing? Are you touching each other? I don't know. Are any of these punches making contact?
I think that's something that John Wick owes a lot to, like, a lot of, I don't know necessarily kung fu movies, but certainly Asian action movies and kind of the history of martial arts films as well, that, like, you know, you think about a good... which I used to watch when I was a kid, because it was on TV, Jackie Chan movies from the 80s, where it was like, straight up, he's doing all of this, and they're not going to cut, because if you cut, then you miss it, and he's doing all of it. So, I really appreciate that. I think that's something it's definitely... I don't know if I would call it an homage, but it's definitely something that connects it to that genre and that history of film.
I'm thinking about, like, John Wick, and that the first one is effectively a revenge film. And then, like, thinking about, like, movies where the whole setup is that you're supposed to feel like the violence is righteous, and therefore, like, you don't have to, like, feel bad about enjoying it. So you feel, like, less like a fucking Roman citizen going and enjoying gladiator, like a gladiatorial match or something. And so, like, we have, I mean, like, it's kind of hard to talk about, like, violent Western movies without talking about Tarantino films. And so we have Inglourious Bastards on this list, which somebody was like, yes, the only good Tarantino film, which is not strictly true, because I love Reservoir Dogs, but it's the only good later Tarantino film, possibly.
True. It's his last good movie so far, because it was the last one edited by the editor whose name I always forget, who passed away, who edited all of his movies. What's her name? She was so good.
I don't remember either, unfortunately.
Oh, find it. IMDb.
This is the Sneople can't remember anybody's name episode.
It's Thelma.
Which is
Thelma
just
something.
Look, shit happens.
Sorry. But yeah, so she's like, I don't know, Sally Mae. That's right. No, I was thinking of Scorsese's editor. So yeah, like it's the last like decently sized, decent length Tarantino movie where you're like, okay, this ended where it was supposed to end. This works. This is great. Story good. Which after Inglourious Bastards never happened again so far.
Yeah.
That's such a hopeful way to say that.
I guess that was the last one that was edited by someone that he would actually listen to when they were like, "You have to cut things."
Quentin Tarantino, retire, bitch. I said it on the show once, and I'll say it again
Quentin
in
Tarantino,
hopes that
retire, bitch. That's the official
blessing.
We can say that because he said he was gonna. He's been saying he was gonna.
Yeah.
Follow through.
So just do the
Follow
thing.
through.
Like you
just do it. Oh my god, stop waiting around for people to be like, oh no, don't do that, just retire.
Like, I'm gonna make a Star Trek movie. Oh, JK. Like, don't mess with me like that. Just do it.
So I was just thinking about, like, so Inglourious Bastards definitely falls under, like, Inglourious Bastards is a revenge fantasy. Is it a little weird that it's a revenge fantasy about Jews killing Nazis, most of whom are, most of the Jews played by people who are not Jews, and neither is Quentin Tarantino? Yeah, it is. Do I still like it? Yes. But I was just thinking about, like, that's normally, like, not my, like, revenge movies were, like, a whole subgenre of, like, grindhouse films and, like, the, like, something, like, such and such exploitation movies of, like, the period of film history where you could get away with having fucking tons of violence on screen. I don't know, I'm just, like, I guess I have, like, a complicated relationship with that kind of thing, because on like, a kind of visceral level, I'm like, yeah, it is satisfying to watch people dressed as Nazis get fucking murdered because they deserve it. And also, it slides into the kind of the over-the-top comic violence, rather, not comic book, but, like, where it's, like, it is sufficiently ridiculous as to be, like, divorced from real life. For me, anyway, I know that, like, threshold is different for different people, but, yeah, which then, and I like those kinds of, there were sort of cheerfully violent films that I enjoy the fuck out of, and then there are, like, films where, like, horrible shit happens and some of it is violent, but I'm like, yeah, this is like I engage with this as, like, like an interesting meditation on, like, what people can do to one another. But then I'm over here, like, not liking horror movies because I don't particularly like gore. Like, and then I like war movies are fine, like, I can put up with that, but it's like, I guess I just have, like, a really, really touchy threshold for, like, feeling like it's really easy for stuff in horror movies to cross over into torture porn for me, even if it's not really.
It's the Maddie zone.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna pass this one back off to Maddie, but, like, because they have opinions, and I like listening to their opinions, which is why we have a podcast together. But I'm just thinking about, like, I can't even really pinpoint what the tipping point is for me, but then there's also the thing of where there were plenty of situations where violence on film is, like, an interesting part of storytelling. I don't like movies to make me feel as if I should be afraid of whatever the violence in them is. I don't like being scared recreationally. Like, I think that's sort of what it comes down to for me, is that, like, violence that is part of a story is fine. Violence, as soon as I feel like the film is telling me that I should be afraid of that violence leaving the film and entering my real life, I'm like, no thank you, bye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense. Yeah, so I think there's something to be said for, does this violence serve a purpose? In John Wick, the point of the violence is that this is a tool that John Wick has that is maybe his only one. And it's one that he does not want to use. It is something that he is desperately trying not to use. But it is the only thing he has against the people who are constantly trying to force him into positions he doesn't want. Into a life he is trying to leave behind. There is a purpose to the violence, and that is it's all he has to free himself. Or to take vengeance on people who have hurt him when he is trying to mourn the loss of his wife. Or, so on and so forth. The thing with a lot of modern horror movies is that they're using violence as a fear tactic, which I'm sure I said this in our horror movie episode. I think it's cheap.
That's an interesting thought about, like, what kind of the language of violence and, like, whether characters choose to do that or whether you feel like that's the only language available to them. Like, it makes it that's like two very different ways to treat violence on screen. Yeah. That was something about that was what I was gonna like what I was thinking about when I put Eastern Promises in this doc, which is that you that's a world where there's like you end up feeling like you've got these people where the only way they feel like they can have any influence or agency in the world is through doing violence. And like John Wick is like the only way he's stuck in this world. The only way to get out was violence of an unspecified variety, or thus far, I don't know, maybe they specify it in the third one. But then that means that, like, still, like, as soon as he gets pulled back in, the only way to move through that world is by doing violence.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to go back.
Because that's what everyone is trying to do to him as well. It's not one of the smartest analyses of John Wick I've ever heard was from the film Reroll when they did a John Wick episode, and the DM who was running that was like, none of you are playing John Wick, because John Wick is a force of nature that you have brought upon yourselves, and all you can do is try and avoid him.
So good.
Which, fucking Andy said that, and that blew my whole shit wide open. I was like, fuck, this is so... That's how the film is shot a lot of times, is that he is... I mean, he has... in a lot of ways he doesn't. I'm starting and ending sentences because I'm changing my mind as I'm saying them. I was going to say he has agency, but he doesn't, really. It is taken from him as soon as he's pulled back into this world, and he is constantly having that taken from him, and the only way he can even try and get some of it back is to enact violence on other people, is to kill other people. And even then, like, he has such difficulty making headway. Everyone's so afraid of him. Everyone's like, oh, it's John Wick. But he's almost weirdly powerless in this world. Mm-hmm. Because there's so many other people above him who can pull strings to ruin him.
Yeah.
Like, he in order to get out of this world, he had a marker with Santino. And Santino, hearing that he came back, calls the marker. And he has to take the marker. That is part of the rules of this world, is he has to do it. So he does it, and he follows through. And then Santino turns around and puts a bounty on him to kill him off. So no matter what he does, he's just screwed at every turn. This is the only way he can get anything back, is to kill a bunch of people. And it never fucking turns out for him. And I'm just saying, maybe John Wick should have one good fucking day with his dog.
Maybe he should just go to Applebee's and get some mozzarella sticks, like we were saying.
John Wick and fucking the Bowery King should go to Applebee's and get some fucking mozzarella sticks with the dog. I swear to God.
Yeah. It's notable to me that like the movie, just to add on to what you were talking about, that the movie doesn't start from John Wick's perspective. It's being the sequel, so we know who John Wick is already, but starting from the perspective of two people who are sort of minor villains connected to the villains of the first movie, just talking about how scary he is and what he can do with a pencil and everything, which he does a little bit of later.
He's a local legend, essentially. Yeah. He's the story you tell your kids to bring them in line.
Yeah, he's literally Baba Yaga.
Yeah, which I could fucking get into.
But he's so sweet.
I just want someone to draw me a cartoon of Keanu Reeves with long hair and a cute pit bull, like, sitting on the porch of the chicken leg house.
He absolutely has a tattoo of the chicken leg house, like, on his shoulder, I noticed on one of my watches.
That made me really happy.
So good.
Fucking is so good.
Wouldn't that be cute? Just where he's just like, I got my dog. Yeah. You can't get me up here. I'm on chicken legs. Fuck off.
Yeah. But to get back to horror movies really quick, I think one of the things that annoys me about a lot, not all, there's some really good, obviously, like everything Jordan Peele is doing right now is fucking peak. A Quiet Place, obviously I've talked about it a lot. You know, there are some great modern horror films happening right now, but a lot of kind of the standard stuff that is coming out is violence is the thing that is supposed to be scary. The gore and that is the scary part. And I'm like, that's just so... I personally don't find it very scary a lot of the time. I just think it's kind of gross and it makes me feel sick if you use too much of it. And two, it's like, that's not... You're missing something that would make this, like, a good horror movie. And for a lot of people, that is what works for them, is like, that is something that they enjoy, and that's fine. That's none of my business, honestly. But I think that when people are like, I don't like horror movies, they're too gross, I'm like, dude, I get it. There's good horror. If you want to learn, I can help you. If you don't, that's cool. Get it. But here's the deal. It's the stuff that you're seeing, I think, is bullshit. I think it's bullshit a lot of the time. And I think it's dumb. And I'm mad about it. All the time I'm mad about it.
Not to draw a parallel between the horror genre and musical theater, but it is kind of the same sort of thing. Where, it's like people, and not to, put people on blast, but like people who, I think we talked about this in the musical episode, where like, if you don't think that you like something, you're not going to go out of your way to familiarize yourself with the breadth of that particular thing. Mm-hmm. So if you get the impression that you don't like horror, and like you don't like the horror that you've seen, and you think that a lot of horror is going to be like this kind of same stuff, then of course you're going to stay away from it, right? But if you don't know that all the different things that horror can be, then you wouldn't necessarily venture into that. It's the same exact thing for musical theater, is all I'm trying to say, and musicals in general. Is like, if you think that musicals are a certain thing and a certain tone and always involve a certain sort of element that you dislike to it, then of course you're going to say, like, I don't like them and they're all the same. But there's such a breadth of difference in both of those things, right? And it's the same goes for action movies as well.
Yeah. I mean, same goes for superhero movies. You could say that about a lot of different genres.
Yeah. The concept of genre is actually kind of, sometimes, frankly, kind of bullshit.
Yeah, agreed. Oh, boy.
Speaking of that, I'm interested to know, not speaking of anything really, but trying to segue into
absolutely nothing,
into a teaser trailer for next time. Matty, what inspired you to want to watch Jaws so recently?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember.
Oh no, that's fine.
Wait. Oh God. Oh, I know what it was. Actually, this is stupid, but no, I'm trying to use that phrase less often. This is interesting. I was scrolling through Tumblr and I saw a GIF set of Jaws that basically was that scene where they're like, it's 4th of July weekend, we're not going to close the beaches.
Oh, right.
And the cop is like, well, if we close the beaches now, maybe we could have the beach for August,
Yeah.
And nobody was saying fucking anything because all of us were just thinking about the goddamn coronavirus.
Yeah. Everybody was retweeting
and I saw that
yeah.
gift set. I saw that gift set and I was like, God, one, this is very funny. Two, I love the color saturation in this movie. I love the way this movie looks just from this gift set. And I was like, because I've been wanting to watch Jaws for a while. I think we've talked about it a few times. I'm like, God, I really just want to watch Jaws.
Yeah.
Especially after I listened to I talk about the film reroll a lot. Sorry.
Oh yeah,
it's
a good podcast. You're valid. Yeah.
They just did Ocean's 11. I'm so stoked. But. So I listened to that episode and I was like, oh, this is good, actually. I really need to watch this.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, actually seeing it in motion of some kind was like, oh, I really gotta see this.
Yeah.
Because I never actually, like, seen any clips of it really before. Like, here or there, maybe I'd seen, like, a photo or a GIF, but...
Interesting.
Yeah, seeing the actual GIFs. It was particularly, like, the brightness of it, the fact that it was like broad daylight and like so bright and light out in those scenes, and like kind of the way it was framed, knowing what was happening in that movie was like, oh shit, this is good. Actually, so that was what it was, is I was like, oh, I just finally saw it and it was like, oh, I'm really into the way this is filmed.
Yeah.
So
that's funny.
Jaws.
We're gonna watch it this Saturday, so we might talk about it the next episode. If we, I was like, I think a day or two before you said that you really wanted to watch it in the Discord, there was some kind of thread going around on Twitter where people were like, "What's that comfort movie that shouldn't really be a comfort movie for people?" And I spent about 15 minutes trying to find the right clip from YouTube of a scene from Jaws that's like not a scary scene, but like a talky scene like that one, so I could be like, this is my comfort movie and here's why. Look at, they're talking over each other and it's great. I love dialogue and I love these actors, and this is my comfort movie where people get eaten by sharks. So I was very happy, and it was very serendipitous that we kind of had a same brain moment there, and I'm very excited for everybody to see it.
This is a small thing, speaking of Jaws, but I am excited to watch a film that takes place in the summer and is fucking lit like it takes place in the summer. Sorry, I was just thinking about the like couple of stills that got released for Dune, and I was like, look, I'm still excited. I am still cautiously optimistic about the Dune movie. But if the whole bastard looks like it was filmed on the Oregon coast in February, like on a February afternoon, I'm gonna be pissed.
You know, it's
why
it's gonna just, though, because
it is, and I'm so tired of like real science, like serious science fiction, like looking like it was filmed on the Oregon coast on a February afternoon. I'm looking at you.
Shut up. It's not just Star Wars. It's not just science fiction. It's Denis Villeneuve, like specifically that director. That's his film, with the exception of a little bit of Blade Runner. His films just look like that.
Did he just watch Did he just imprint on Stargate? Because I love Stargate, but the thing about Stargate is that large portions of it looked like they were filmed in suburban Vancouver on an overcast day, because they were.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen
Arrival.
All
planets look like oh yeah, I have seen Arrival, which is another film that just...
That's that
all
filter.
All of his films are lit like... And you know what it is that I get that if you live in most of the rest of the world, it just looks like a filter. My problem is that if you live in the Pacific Northwest, like Cascadia Corridor, that's what your life looks like late September through fucking April.
It's true. That's just what it like
that filter is my life. That's what it looks like every time I leave the house for like 7 months of the year. And I'm fucking tired of it.
Yeah, it does really... I'm looking at it right now. It does kind of look a lot like Oregon coast, huh?
It really just... Like, we couldn't have booked the man a vacation to Pink Sand Dune State Park in Utah. Like... Why can't we have sand dunes that aren't gray?
You know what, though? Oscar Isaac has a beard in this.
Okay, Oscar Isaac has a beard and it's very sexy, but problem. Also, I just,
free him, but also
I think I let my hopes get too high. Because I love Arrival.
That was the first mistake.
I just don't care about Dune that much, so that's good, I guess.
I like Dune. That's the problem, is like, I like Dune, but I feel like Dune is actually like, it needs to be more ridiculous.
Dune absolutely needs to be more ridiculous than most people take it.
I can never remember how to pronounce this guy's fucking name, but I also, like, I didn't see Blade Runner 20 whatever the fuck it's called.
2049.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I don't care to see it.
I like it better than the original.
That's okay, that's fair. I don't know, maybe I will eventually. I kind of, the gender politics of it, the way that it's been described to me kind of just made me go, like, fuck off, I don't care. There are certain movies where I'm just like, I don't know, that's like, and this circles back to the violence film, where there's like specific kinds of like attitudes where I'm not saying that you can't write stories where the world has that attitude. I just reserve the right to be like, cool, I don't want to engage with that right now. Or possibly ever. Where I'm just like, cool, no. And I think I think just like especially like futuristic stuff where I'm just like, man, like, why does this, like, or like watching fucking Altered Carbon, where I was like, man, I get that this is film noir, but like, it's fucking futuristic, like, science fantasy film noir. Why is it still so sexist? Like, why do I gotta live in a world where it's, 500 years in the future and women are still treated like fucking disposable sex toys? Like, more so now. Like, science just, it's just, ugh. Yeah, there are certain kinds of things where the film says, or a story says, these are the rules of this story, and I say, cool, I don't want to play.
That is absolutely fair.
Well, because, like, if I have, like, an inaccurate idea about Blade Runner 2049, like, I would very much enjoy, like, if I'm wrong about it, people should tell me.
Yes. So here's the thing about Blade Runner, is the movie actually had something to say about this is the commodification of women. The issue is that it just didn't really take it much further than that. Like, it had that point, but it didn't have an and to that. It was like, women are commodified, and that's bad. And we were like, yes. And it was like, women are commodified, and that's bad. And I was like,
to prove this, we are going to have this scene where Jared Leto uncomfortably ogles this naked person and then kills her, and it's like, cool.
It didn't take it further down the goal line, which was frustrating, because I was like, I can see that you are saying this, and I'm like, yes, I agree, and you're like so close to being able to take it further to have a further discussion about it, and they just kind of like didn't. It was more disappointing than upsetting. Also, the saturation was good.
It's a very visually incredible movie sometimes.
It was a very visually
it looked very the trailers made it look very pretty. I can't believe that Dune looks like it was filmed on the Oregon beaches.
They're never gonna make a good Dune movie. They're never gonna make a Dune movie I want them to make. And I sort of accept that my life is an abysmal
I don't know,
hell.
the one where Sting looks like he's wearing a Speedo with like craft.
That was the closest we ever got
to it. Is pretty dope.
That's because
that's the closest we got.
That's because David Lynch
fucking nuts.
David Lynch loves us, and he wants you to be happy.
Like, David Lynch has the right level of like weird bullshit sensibility for. Correct. Like, I feel like, okay, am I just gonna mangle this dude's?
Denis Villeneuve. He's Quebecois.
Denis Villeneuve. Okay, there we go. I apologize in advance for mangling this man's name, but Denis Villeneuve. I don't know. Frankly, I feel like the man's films take themselves slightly too seriously to make Dune work.
Yeah,
I would say that.
I think the problem with making movie adaptations of sci-fi classics is that people are like, you got to take it seriously, or I'll come to your house and kill you. And I'm like, please, we have all read Dune. We know that some things about Dune are serious. We know that some things about Dune are fucking nuts. Mm-hmm. Please just accept the fact this is just what Dune is like.
Yeah. And I will say...
It would be nice if they made Dune, 15% less homophobic, because holy fuck, the books are so homophobic.
I will say...
It's kind of incredible.
That, maybe it's the sacrifice of, people want it to look slick, and they think that something looking nice means that people are taking it seriously. And people complain about, I don't know, people complain. But, okay, we all know I've been rewatching a lot of 90s Trek recently. It doesn't look great in terms of the saturation, the way that it's filmed. I love to death the beige carpeting on the Enterprise. Thank you so much.
Apparently, if and I guess this would be a highly irresponsible way to spend my stimulus check, but what if I did? The Blu-ray remaster from the original footage of Next Gen does not look like a beige nightmare. It's still, a lot of the set is unavoidably beige, but it does not have quite so much the energy of, accompanying your mom to the DMV in 1998.
Yeah. No, I want that. I want my Star Trek to look like that. That's the problem. It's don't get me wrong.
Corporate nightmare.
The makeup on Star Trek, especially 90s Trek, is fucking incredible. The Cardassian makeup, I'm just I lose my mind. I can't focus because the Cardassian makeup is so good. But it does look, it's either original series, which is gumdrop button lights on the computers, and you're that looks like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, not like a spaceship. But okay, sir, yes, absolutely, 100%. The men are wearing makeup. It's great. And then Spock's eyeshadow, Sulu's eyeshadow, loving it.
It's good.
Or it's going to the DMV with your mom, and I love that vibe. And there's no music during any scene except during the engine noise, and it's fantastic.
Anything.
It's
Next Gen has no soundtrack ever.
No, it's just right before you go to credits, you get an emotional sting, and that's good. It has a baller theme. The best.
I love the Next Gen theme.
All of the themes from 90s Trek are incredible. Thank you, Jerry Goldsmith. But it's just engine noise, and then commercial break, come back.
Yeah.
And it's yeah.
I have a funky confession, which is there's a channel of YouTube videos that are just isolated Star Trek engine noise.
Already got that bookmarked.
Yeah, when I can't sleep, I just put on the Next Gen engine noise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I 100%. Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, because I also imprinted on the fucking Next Gen reruns on Spike TV.
Oh god.
In the late TV. 90s, early 2000s, which I remember my parents periodically being horrified at the level of inappropriate that the commercials for other Spike TV products were. Because while it's totally reasonable to let your 8-year-old watch Star Trek Next Generation, there's nothing age inappropriate on there. Some of the stuff that would be on before it or after it was my parents being oh, turn the channel, change the channel, fuck.
Yep.
Yeah, anyway. I don't know why we just started talking about Next Gen, but also I've had
look, Dune. It's because Star Trek is better than Dune, and Star Trek is better than Altered Carbon. That's why. And Star Trek Star Trek from the 90s. The original series is different because they've remastered them, and it looks really nice. You can't really do a whole lot with 90s Trek, and I'm saying that that's fine. It doesn't make the show bad, because the show is still really good, because the core of the show is good. Let it be beige. It's okay if Sting is there and he's wearing a thong or whatever. I don't know. I haven't seen David Lynch's Dune.
I haven't either. I've only seen occasionally I would just be blindsided by fucking Sting in the craft foam banana hammock.
Yeah.
The cast for that Dune is fucking...
Yeah.
It's so wild.
Patrick Stewart's in that one, hey? Yeah.
Yeah, he fucking is. how much cocaine do we think was involved in the making of David Lynch's Dune?
The normal amount.
Think about it.
The normal amount.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah, like the normal amount for that period of movie making history, which is, God, it's fucking Kyle MacLachlan. Brad Dourif is in that? He must be like a baby.
Yes.
God, sorry, it's been so long.
So I think to wrap up, Helena mentioned this earlier. So Helena and I, as we've said many a time, have known each other for
too long.
I was going to frame it positively. You mean son of a bitch.
I'm sorry. I just typed the phrase. I wanted to see Kyle MacLachlan in Kardashian.
I know. I saw that.
You're valid.
As I said,
it interrupted my sentence long enough for you to cut in and say something mean.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, hold on. I imagine we're in a room and I turn to you and make you look me in the eyes while I say this. You ever think about that Tumblr post where the person's talking about their wife who makes toast for them and is supremely mean about it? And the end part of the post is, "Thank you, honey. I say every time your mean lass makes toast for me." I feel like that's how I feel about our relationship sometimes. But we take turns being the mean little ass.
Yeah.
So turning back to the
I turned my head to look at you. Yeah. I turned back.
Okay, we turned back.
Okay.
This is theater of the mind. So Helm and I have known each other for a long time, and we did a theory of knowledge class in our junior year of high school. We did a project together that was about violence in video games specifically. And we were right, and we were valid, and I don't remember what grade we got, but all you need to know is that we were right and we were valid. Basically, we said that the correlation is not necessarily anything, and there's a lot more factors involved. But to prove our hypothesis, I believe Helena came over to my house and we played, I think, one of the Sonic and Mario fucking Olympics games.
Yeah.
And we had to throw the footage away. I think I kept the footage, but we did not include it.
We just violently date ourselves on this podcast.
Yes.
I remember I was playing like
R.I.P.
tennis.
Sonic and Mario 2020. It's gone now.
Tennis or softball or something, and I was so
yes.
mad.
Helena got mad.
We're trying to prove that, like, something about, like, doing violence in video games doesn't actually cause you to be violent in real life, but here I was playing tennis or something, and I was... boy howdy was I getting frustrated. So that wasn't even real violence, and I was getting violent. So, you know, I'm just a poor test subject, I guess.
And I think part of it too is perhaps maybe if we had done something that had not had a competitive, I think it was bad from the start. If we had not had a competitive element involved, it might have been different.
Yeah, and also if I hadn't been trying in this, you know, monkey brain way to perform for people in a way that, like, you do when you play, you know, any kind of, you know, Mario related game where you're, you know, the stakes aren't really that high, but you have to react like they are in order to kind of, that's just kind of the way you play it. So I'm just a bad test subject. I found the CD though with our project on it. Oh no shit.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I bet I have that footage somewhere on an old computer, just like buried deep.
Good lord.
Yeah, so Talon, I mentioned that in relation to violence in movies, and I just have been thinking about it ever since.
And we were right, and we're still right.
Yeah, and we were right, and we're still right. Anyone else got any final thoughts? Any things they'd like to thonk?
I feel like the one more thing, I don't know if I'm like, if this is like too much of a like, oh, what if this restarts the discussion? But now I'm just thinking about like, there's like, it's almost like how like different tabletop roleplay systems have like different kind of lengths of time that taking damage impacts you. Like that can be one of the interesting things with how like sort of how movies treat violence done to characters, that either it's almost like there's kind of conventions for how long it takes for people to shrug off injuries based on genre, and then if a film like goes against what you would expect for that genre, it can be really interesting. I'm mostly thinking of Casino Royale, where James Bond has spent, X many movies getting this shit systematically beaten out of him, but he's always, like, fine, like, it's 5th edition D&D and you can sleep off, like, dying. And then he's, like, he has to, like, have, like, physical, like, that's gonna fuck you up for a while. Like, in the middle of a James Bond movie. Mm-hmm. Which kind of changes your expectations of what kind of film it's gonna be.
Yeah, I think that's a good kind of an interesting note to wrap on. I was thinking, I'm just gonna say this one last thing about John Wick, specifically regarding, like, violence. One of the things I always appreciate about those movies is that, like, John Wick just looks fucked up for most of them. He's always got cuts on his face. He's always, like, the dude never looks like he's in good shape. He's always looks like he's gotten fucked up, because he has. I'm excited for you guys to see 3 for related reasons. Talk about a movie that, like, pays attention to the fact that people are getting hurt a lot. Yeah. John Wick good.
Yeah.
That's the end.
I enjoyed John Wick 2 very much. I did appreciate the content warning for very graphic suicide.
Yes.
Which is, that's another thing where it's like, I was like, I'm really glad that my friends told me, and, like, it's not like the movie didn't let me know what the fuck was about to happen, which is, it's amazing how when you have specific things that you're sensitive to, you get really good at anticipating them, even if they're, like, not being telegraphed really heavily. But that's something where it was like, if I had been blindsided by that, I don't think I would have been able to enjoy the film as much as I did seeing it with my friends and them being like, oh, it's here, like, look away.
Take care of your friends.
Yeah, take care of your friends.
DoesTheDogDie.com is a great website, and you should give them money.
This is our official shout out to DoesTheDogDie.com. They are good people.
So, thanks for hanging out with us here on Sneople at the Movies from the Infinity Break Network. Check out infinitybreak.net for more awesome content, and come hit us up on Twitter at people_snake, or shoot us an email at sneopleatthemovies@gmail.com. Our amazing music was done by Johnny Ronaldo, who you can find at Johnny Ronaldo on Twitter. Our super snazzy logo was designed by Bethany Luthold. You can check out at bethanyluthold.wixsite.com. That is Bethany LEUTHOLD.wixsite.com. If you've got a subject you want to hear us talk about, a movie you absolutely think we need to see, or a reason why the gun sommelier is your favorite John Wick character, come say hello. Also, we're over a year now, but leaving a review on iTunes, sharing with your friends, just kind of talking about the show on Twitter or Facebook or wherever is super helpful to us still. Obviously, we're all kind of, like, hanging out inside right now, so if you have any friends who are like, God, I'm, like, out of all my podcasts to listen to, like, just, it's nice if you can nudge our show their way. It really means a lot to us, both personally and also as we care about the show and want it to do well. So thanks a lot. And beyond that, thank you for listening, and we'll see you at the movies.